What's going on YouTube? That's it, Teasy here. I got a comment a few weeks ago, and I just haven't had time to get to it. But a guy is working on a very low budget, and he wants to build a high-end AR. Um, and he was just wanting to know what's the best way to find products and to get the stuff that he was looking for to build a high-end AR. With the accessories, I'm not going to sit here and recommend certain accessories to put on your AR if you're trying to build one. I'm not that guy. Um, you can build whatever you want to, or I'm sorry, you can put on your rifle whatever you want to. You don't necessarily have to go out and buy a $600 aim point when you can get a primary arms red dot. There's nothing wrong with that. I see a lot of people saying, well, um, if you don't have this on your gun, then basically your AR is crap. Or if you have a Bushmaster or a Delton or something like that, then your rifle is no good. When you can go out and buy the products to make that rifle better, and then too, sometimes those rifles come off the line and they're great. They work for what people need to use them for. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you what you need to buy. I'm more or less just responding to a question that was asked to me. Um, But if you're working with a budget and you're trying to put together a high-end AR, if you want to put things that cost a little bit more on it, there are things that you can do to actually get that rifle completed. Now, it's going to take some time. It's going to be frustrating because you're not going to be able to find everything when you want it or when you have the money. And then there's going to be times where those things are available and you don't have the money. That's just kind of the nature of it. You have to be patient when you're working with a low budget. But just as an example of things that I found deals on sites like eBay and at gun shows and stuff like that, my Aimpoint R1. Um, this is a discontinued model of the Aimpoint Micro Series. They no longer make these, and essentially the R1 is the same as the H1, only the R1 has a stainless finish. Now, what I did, I purchased this off of eBay for 335 bucks. And initially, when it was discontinued, a lot of the websites that were carrying this model still sold them at $600. They didn't go on sale. Um, so, went on eBay, started looking. Initially, I wanted a T1, and at the time, I didn't have the money. But I saw an H1 for half the price, and I had to jump on it. It was a wholesaler who had maybe 10 or 11 of them, and I had to jump on it. So I saved, in the neighborhood of 300 bucks on purchasing a high quality optic like this or a red dot like this. The same thing with the Troy Battle Rail. When these came out, they were selling for about 200 bucks. I picked it up for $140 off of eBay, it's held up great. All this stuff I got new in box. It wasn't used or anything like that. Another product I purchased was the Surefire Mini Scout Light. Initially when they came out, and I think that they're actually a little bit cheaper now. You can find them brand new from websites at a cheaper price. But initially when they came out, they were selling for about 350 bucks, if I can remember. I think they sold for 350 bucks. Got on eBay, did some searching, asked some questions, did some research. I found this new in-box Surefire weapon light for 150 bucks. So I saved, close to 200 bucks on this setup here. So with the money I saved, I was able to save up a little bit more money. It helped me out a little bit. I had close to 500 bucks. It allowed me to get this D-ball IR pointer, red pointer laser system. And this is probably the thing it took me the longest to get just because of the price. I didn't get a deal on this. I ended up having to pay full price for it. But just by saving and purchasing other products, I was able to get the D-ball. And I'm really happy with it. I've played around with some of the setups. I've had to make some adjustments to some of the parts on my gun to actually get it to work this way. And I love it. And that's about it, really. If you're working on a very low budget and you don't have a lot of money to spend, one thing I will not recommend you do is start using your credit card, because we know what that leads to. Um, and if you're working on a low budget, you're not trying to be paying credit card bills. I cannot stand credit cards. I hate them with a passion. They are handy, and they can help you out when you get into a bind, but also people can abuse those credit card privileges, and they end up getting themselves in trouble. So what I do recommend is that you save, 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 save. Also, do your research. Do research on the products that you want to put on your rifle. If you're going to a website, or if you're looking for a deal off of something like eBay, make sure that you ask questions about the product from the seller. Now, we all know that eBay is notorious, eBay is notorious for having fake EOTechs and optics and stuff like that. So what you have to do is if you see a product and you think it's real, make sure that you ask that seller questions. Also, if you live in the United States, I recommend that you buy from someone in the United States. Don't buy from China or something like that, simply because more than likely it's going to be a clone. And it's not going to be real. It's more than likely going to be favored to go on an airsoft gun. You don't want to really use optics and scopes and all that kind of stuff on a real gun that are meant for airsoft. But ask questions. And if you know the specs and the person selling the product does not know the specs, then more than likely it's fake. Now, what I did when I was looking for, I used an EOTech before I even started doing videos on YouTube. I used an EOTech 512. Looking on eBay, I found one and it looked real. I did all the research on it, and just from the picture alone, it looked like the real EOTech. But I asked the seller questions. What are the specs of it? What are what is the color of the the dot, the red dot, and the reticle on the inside? And the seller replied, "It is the real thing. EOTechs have a green and red reticle and all." And I knew immediately that that was not a real EOTech. That the seller was trying to jip me out of my money, and that was almost $400. So I did not buy that product, and I'm pretty sure somebody did that didn't know. But I ended up, saving my money that way because I didn't buy something that was fake. So just be mindful, do your research, save your money, ask questions, look for deals, go to gun shows. You can use eBay. All that kind of stuff will help you out. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you got any questions or comments, feel free to PM me. You can leave some comments below. I'll try and get back to you as soon as possible. Anybody that needs help doing this kind of thing, I'm certainly there and will give you some advice and some help on trying to put together a really nice system. So with that being said, I hope you guys are having a wonderful afternoon. Please take care, be safe, and I'm out. Peace.